So every single time I think we're finally past all the No Man's Sky and Sony drama, something else pops up and rears its head. And unfortunately for Hello Games, shit's really hit the fan this time and they're being investigated for false advertising, which is pretty serious shit to say the least. Now, this information comes via Reddit, much like every other piece of information these days which seems to hit the internet. So this information was posted by a user who goes by the name of AzaUK, who claims to have received a response from the advertising standard agency based in the UK. So by the sounds of it, this user by the name of AzaUK has probably gone and had a bit of a bitch and a moan to the advertising standards agency. Now my first thought was, well, who's to say this guy isn't just talking out his ass just because he wants to kick up some shit about No Man's Sky again and keep the drama going. But since he's posted on Reddit and made these claims, Eurogamer has actually contacted the advertising standards agency and have actually backed up the story that it is in fact true and that Hello Games, Valve and No Man's Sky are in fact being investigated for false advertising. Now I'm going to quickly read out a small section of an article that is on Kotaku, and I'll post the link down in the description for yourself if you want to read the article in its entirety. But I want to read you out this little paragraph because I think it kind of sums up what exactly is going on and why Hello Games and Valve are being investigated. Earlier this morning, Eurogamer reported that the ASA has confirmed they are investigating the game's marketing, putting questions to Hello Games and Valve over the way it was advertising on the Steam store. Both Hello Games and Valve have been asked to respond on a number of questions around features that were shown or mentioned on the No Man's Sky store page that were not present in the game at launch. Those include user interface design, ship flying behavior, behavior of animals, large-scale space combat, structures and buildings as pictured, flowing water, speed of galaxy warp/load times, aiming systems, size of creatures, behavior of ships and sentinels, structures and buildings as pictured, quality of graphics, references to lack of loading screens, trade convoys between stars, and lastly, factions vying over territories. So we already knew it, but clearly looking at those bullet points, there is a shitload of content and features that is missing from the final version of the game. Now, from what I've been reading, Hello Games isn't going to get sued into oblivion and disappear and never be a thing again. Basically, in the past, when the Advertising Standards Agency has found misleading promotional material, much like we're seeing with Valve and No Man's Sky at the moment, and in the past when they have found it, they've basically just given out slaps on the wrists and they've told the offenders to basically pull down or correct any misleading advertising of the product. So I think all in all, and at the end of the day, Hello Games is probably going to be fine. Valve will definitely be fine. They will continue along their merry little way like nothing's ever happened, because to them, even if there was a fine, it would be like a drop in the bucket for them. And this leads me into the second half of the video that I want to discuss. Now, personally, I think both Hello Games and Valve do have a case to answer, and I do think they're going to be found guilty. And I think this investigation is healthy for the consumer as well, and I think someone has to keep them honest, and I'm glad there's a watchdog for it, and I wish it happened more often, because time after time after time again, especially in recent history, this generation, we've seen a lot of misleading promotional material, and a couple of games straight away jump to mind, and one of those games is Watch Dogs, and the other one is The Division. Unfortunately for Ubisoft, they're both Ubisoft games. And actually, one last one, this must be a Ubisoft thing, but Rainbow Siege as well. But I'll start with Watch Dogs. Watch Dogs feature-wise was misleading. Watch Dogs graphically was very misleading. At the game's ship, we just didn't see the features and we didn't see the same level of graphical fidelity. Onto The Division. The Division also didn't have the same graphical fidelity. Onto Rainbow Siege. Rainbow Siege also didn't have the same graphical fidelity. And I'm sure there's a lot of other cases that I've just glossed over or I can't remember at the moment. And unfortunately for Ubisoft, I've picked on them a little bit. But you know what? Tough titties, Ubisoft, because you clearly must be the worst offender, because you're what's sticking in my head at the moment. But when all's said and done, and investigations aside, and whether or not these publishers and developers with their advertising are misleading, I think it comes down to us as gamers and consumers to be wary about what we're buying. I think we should be doing our research and really reading up and making informed decisions before we make a purchase. And yes, I know that means you're not going to be able to pre-order the game and you're going to have to wait for reviews, But you know what? Having to wait 2 or 3 days after a game's launch isn't the end of the world, because at the end of the day, how long have you already been waiting for that game anyway? Chances are, like No Man's Sky, you've been waiting for 12 to 24 months for this game to ship. So what's a couple more days to wait for a review or two? Because I bet you, I guarantee, these people that are wanting all these refunds for No Man's Sky, I bet you they pre-ordered and they purchased day one, because chances are, if they'd waited for the reviews and made an informed decision, then they would have decided to have steered clear from No Man's Sky, because it just didn't end up being what was promised. So I think a lot of it falls on us as gamers to be wary about what we're buying, where we're putting our money, and vote with your wallet. Because we need to keep these publishers and developers honest with how they're presenting the game and how they're advertising the game. And of course, the state that they're shipping the game in, whether or not it's broken or functional. It's up to us, and I think we can make a difference. Let's steer away from pre-orders, let's wait for reviews, and make informed purchases. Alright guys, that's the end of my rant. Let me know down in the comments below, what do you think of the investigation on Hello Games and Valve? Do you think it's justified? Do you think there's a case to be answered? And also let me know what you think about my thoughts on waiting for reviews and making informed decisions before you slap down hard-earned cash on games. Do you think we can make a difference? Do you think some of it lands on us to keep these guys honest? Let me know down below. And as always guys, please rate, comment and subscribe. And if I haven't quite done enough in this video to get you over the line to subscribe, then go check out my channel, because chances are if you found this video and you've searched for it, then you're gonna like the rest of the content that I have on my channel. So go check it out. As always guys, my name's Sully, this is One Guy's Opinion, and we'll talk in the next video.